Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers and doers, seekers of purpose and fulfillment, welcome to Passion on Purpose, the podcast that sets your soul on fire and ignites the spark within you. I'm your host, Steph Hilfer, and I'm beyond thrilled you're here. Passion on Purpose features leaders, experts, and sometimes me on center stage. We put the spotlight on visionaries, entrepreneurs, leaders, experts, and everyday heroes to share their journey of self-discovery, enthusiasm, and unwavering determination. We'll explore how they use their passion and purpose to fuel their brand. Alongside our leaders, we'll provide practical tips, actionable advice, and wisdom from our experts across various fields. So if you're ready to unleash your inner fire, shake off the doubts and insecurities, and pursue a life of purpose with unbridled enthusiasm, then let's dive in. All right, guys, we are back with another episode of the Passion on Purpose podcast. This is episode 93. This is another Leaders on Center Stage episode, and I'm so excited to introduce our leader for this episode. I'm really excited because it's rare that we get a guest who has really taken something very successful and decided to lean so much more into their passion and their purpose, not, just even deeper into their true life's passion and purpose to bring, go from something that's rocking and rolling and then take the leap and transition into something that's so meaningful and impactful for anyone in this life. I promise once we dive into this, you guys are going to realize that there's someone in your life who needs this. So I'm just really thrilled to talk about that journey, get you guys inspired to really always keep tapping into that heart of what it is you're doing in the world, and don't steer away from it. Don't settle. Keep fighting for that. And so I'm so excited we have Kevin Lavelle. He is the CEO and co-founder currently of Harbor. And we're going to dive more into that. But as always, I'm going to let him share. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, I promise. But as you all know, we're going to dive deep right off the bat. And we're going to kick this off with this hard-hitting question. Are you ready, Kevin?
Fire away.
Okay. What is your why?
My number one why is my family. And I don't think that I envisioned that as I was growing up and going through college. I didn't think that was going to be my why. I thought it was going to be the professional, the impact on the world, but it's absolutely my family. Relative to answering the question in a very tactical way for the audience and my experience in building two companies now, I want to create value for my customers and create a place where people can kind of hone, discover, and improve their gifts as team members. Those two things together are far more valuable than anything else professionally, because if you do those two things right, you create value for yourself, for your investors, for the broader ecosystem, and focusing on customers and team, and creating actual value for customers. That means they will pay you for something and you can keep doing it, and creating value for your team members and allowing them to grow and again kind of hone and enhance their skill sets and have a great place where they're able to find meaning and purpose in their own work. That's going to attract other employees. It's going to create an environment where those folks who are on your team give their all and are able to unlock and create value that you wouldn't have been able to on your own. Because having started two companies now, I can tell you, you can go so far by yourself, but really not that very far. And ultimately, if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go together. And I think that's really, really important. And ultimately, and we'll talk more about the details with my second startup, Harbor, the technical complexity of what we're building is so high. We need so many different skill sets to come to bear and be experts in those arenas that we have to be able to attract a lot of different types of talent. Yeah. And, getting to see the enthusiasm that the team members have to be able to bring their gifts to bear is just so rewarding, and I love it.
Yeah. Acknowledging I need the skill sets, I need the different power players to make these brands come to life is, I applaud it. And I will say, I find a lot of, entrepreneurs, business individuals, and I'm going to say it because I'm always going to say it, especially our male entrepreneurs and our male business owners, oftentimes our ego gets in the way. And I say ego not in such a negative sense, but in just this like, I can do it alone. Like I got this ego type power and feeling. But oftentimes that's what really holds us back. And so I applaud that you recognize that now through two businesses, and especially to your point, right, with Harbor being such a technical and really powerful thing for our parents to be utilizing, and they need to be able to trust that. So there's some security factors, there's a lot of things that you need to have the right brains and the power players to bring to really make that impact that you're looking for. Like, I just applaud that so much that you can channel that. I want to tap into a little bit of that specifically, but before we go there, I want to kind of I'm curious about the younger Kevin. Like, I'm curious about if we looked back into time and we saw like 5-year-old, 10-year-old, or 15-year-old Kevin, like we just happened to have this moment of peeking in and like seeing what you're doing, saying, or experiencing. Like, what would that be like?
A relentless near perfectionist at school, for better or for worse, and really learning from the very beginning to not settle. I was the kid who I would get a 93 on my math test, and then I would go argue with the teacher as to why the question was phrased in such a way that actually my answer could have been technically correct, and really I should have had a 95. And that was a big part of my life. The other part was I think just spending time with lots of different friend groups, and that was again, for better or for worse. Like, I didn't go as deep with one set of people, but I knew lots of different types of friends, and I think that served me well as I left Florida to come to school in Texas, and then I ended up studying abroad. I moved abroad after school, and I have been comfortable in lots of transitions and working with various audiences and different types of people. And I didn't know it at the time, but it ended up serving me very well to feel comfortable with lots of change and working and communicating with lots of different people.
Yeah. I mean, for you to recognize, right? Like, I can be this young child who knows I am right, and like the teacher should hear me out, and like, trust me, this 93 should really be a 97. To also recognizing in your social life and in your moves, like, there's a lot of really cool humans out there, and a lot of different types of people, and a lot of different skill sets and mannerisms and characters and things that I value that are just also different. And I think it's really a beautiful, like you said, whether you knew it or not, like being able to tap into that introspection and apply that into how you've built these two businesses.
Absolutely.
Again, I applaud that, and I hope that others take inspiration from kind of looking introspectively into some of these innate things in us. Because I always love asking this question, because I truly believe that it unveils a lot of truths and alignment in where we are today. And we don't often go down that journey. I don't find us going down that journey very often.
Yeah. And, I think it is important to be comfortable with lots of different groups, but it also has helped me understand that power to the point of the team. Different people bring different things to bear, and those different perspectives can open doors or ideas that you never would have thought of. And I think that's been a huge part of why we've been able to be successful at Mizzen and Main and now Harbor.
Yeah. I think too, one of the questions I want to ask is, when you are dealing with so many different thoughts, characters, persons, powerhouses, talent, skills, you've got to have a really clear alignment around what we value here at Mizzen and Main or Harbor, right? Set today. What has, like, speaking of Harbor today, like, what are the value structures and the value systems that you have in place for internally and the customers of the product? What are we feeling and experiencing, whether we're working for you or purchasing?
Yeah, I think without going through in a shorter recording here, without going through everything that got us to where we are with Harbor, the two things that are most critical from both an employee and a customer side, one is we are our own customers. And so at Harbor, we use the product ourselves on our own families.
Yeah.
And certainly some of our team members don't have kids yet, but we have been using this product since day one and testing it all along the way. And so, I think a lot of products that end up getting released into the wild, sometimes I use them like, did anyone use this themselves? Like, this is such a frustrating, onboarding process. It's clunky, it breaks, whatever that is. That is so critical that not only have we made it something that you should find great, but you can trust that we're using it ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same version that you're using is the same version that we're using. And then we're testing the cutting edge features. And when it comes to, Harbor is a baby monitor and telehealth platform, it's important that parents know we're using this ourselves. So that's the most important thing. The second thing is just every single thing we operate with the highest level of integrity and truth and integrity in everything we do all the time. We treat our vendors and suppliers with respect, and we treat our employees with respect, and our investors and our pilot families, everybody. We want to operate with the same level of trust and integrity that we feel like we deserve. And those two things, with the level of security and the requirements of building a baby monitor platform, I think are just fundamentally critical. And it's a lens through which, when we hire and we make decisions, so many people talk about the New York Times tests. Like, if your conversation or whatever were to be put on the front page of the New York Times, would you be proud of it? And that's something that every person that we've hired, I just feel very confident is going to always operate that way. It doesn't mean that, like, you're not going to make mistakes, or you're not going to try and fix something that might have broken, because those things happen. But are you doing it in an above board way? Are you transparent in the why that decisions are being made? When you do that, you also earn the trust of team members and customers along the way. And I think that is so critical, because nothing is ever perfect all the time. There's always going to be a slip up, a mistake. There's something that's going to happen. But if people say, I trust that they are doing things the right way, the best way, and communicating with me appropriately, you'll have a little bit more grace to be able to move forward appropriately. And then this, I said two things, but I think the last thing is important as well. We do, the basic boring things right. Because when you do the small things right, and it's how our developers code, and they don't leave, these remnants of things that aren't important that other people are going to have to deal with later from a code base. It's how we think about the design of the product. Can it be used 5 years from now, rather than, well, it doesn't really matter because we don't know that people are going to use it that long. When you do the small things right, it's so much better for the long term, because you have such a more solid building block, rather than a lot of shaky pieces along the way that may or may not cause small to catastrophic failures in the product or the company. And so we talk about doing the basic boring things right every day as well.
Yeah, I love those. I love those values so much, because I think they come from an internal and external place where, you feel it and you benefit from all of that, right?
Mhm.
As a consumer, I love that you guys do such a good job at sharing that you are users, and that this was founded by parents,
Yes.
and we actually use this product, and that you don't shy away from, I just was talking to somebody about, not everyone wants to be the face of their company, and you don't have to be the face of your company to still show up and share that you're a user, and that it matters to you as equally as it does
Yeah.
to your consumers, But I love that you and your partner have showed the other co-founder have showed up and just shared that, like, we're a user,
Yeah.
like, we're the
Yeah.
test dummies, all the
Yeah.
great things that you're experiencing through Harbor. We've, trialed and errored on ourselves, and we only put it out because we truly felt it was a benefit to the product and to you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I love that. So tell me, you had this successful company, Mizzen and Main, and you decided to transition from that to Harbor. Of course, I want to hear more about Harbor and let listeners hear more about what you're into now. But I think that journey is such a fun share. So tell me a little bit about the what's, hows, and whys with that.
So in 2017, we received a growth investment from L Catterton, one of the world's leading consumer retail private equity firms. Great firm, just gave us a lot of credibility and firepower to keep growing. And as I began to elevate in the business, kept growing and growing and growing, I decided to start working with an executive coach. And she really helped me understand a lot about myself and the leadership team that we both had and needed. And, thinking about where we were going as an organization, and lots more we could unpack in a much longer conversation. But suffice it to say, I got to a point where I said, I think I'm ready to bring in a president to help really elevate where we are and see around the corner and make us so much better on the things that I've never seen before. I mean, we had gotten to a very sizable company, especially given where we came from. And the reality was, I knew nothing about apparel before I started Mizzen and Main. And actually, more importantly, I'd never ran a P&L. I'd never hired somebody. I'd never even interviewed someone. I was a management consultant and then an investment analyst before starting Mizzen and Main. And so basically everything was brand new all the time. And there were moments along the way where someone would ask me, something about the company, and they'd be like, "Well, tell me about this function in the organization." I was like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about, so we don't have that function because I don't even know what you're describing." And for better or for worse, we had just seen so much success that we were able to do it without some of the core things that you really kind of need at a certain point in time. So we kind of got lucky. And so with that, it was like, we've gotten so lucky for so long. And, I started to get some gray hairs. It's like, maybe it's time to bring someone in who knows something about where we're going. And so I sort of crossed that mental hurdle. Not that I wanted to leave Mizzen and Main, and we were still doing great, but right around that same time, a philanthropy that my wife and I had spent a fair bit of time with and cared a lot about asked me if I would come on board to help them build, and I'll just overgeneralize, sort of like a tech accelerator or incubator for startups in the nonprofit or for-profit space that are advancing social change. And it would require my full focus, and it would require me to go full time. And while I did not want to leave Mizzen and Main, I just had come to this understanding that I was ready to have someone come in and be a partner to help run all the parts of the business that were not familiar to me. I wanted to go secure the next athlete endorsements, to sell the next $10 million worth of product, get into the next major retailer. That's what I was really good at focusing on. And those were my, core competencies. And so when they asked me to do this, I thought, well, maybe I'll just bring in a CEO and I'll go get to be a startup 0 to 1 guy again, because that's what I had done with Mizzen and Main. So again, long story short, a lot more we could talk about. Ultimately decided to step down, stay on as chairman of the board, and help the company with whatever they needed me to help with. But let's bring in somebody who has seen this type of next phase of growth before. And I'll be there to be supportive, but I don't have to be the one that is making every decision every day. I can just help wherever they need me to. So I ended up doing the philanthropy for about 3 years and got to do some incredible things, work with truly incredible founders, and lots of social impact that is something I'm very proud of. And after 3 years, ultimately decided I want to try to build one more consumer startup from the ground up, and that is Harbor. And like Mizzen and Main, it's based on a personal experience where I saw a huge gap in the market and a product that I knew people would benefit from. And so then I spent a while getting ready to launch that, and we can unpack that, as we continue to talk. But that's a part of that transition story for Mizzen and Main and my background.
Yeah. And so good for you. Like, what an amazing journey. And it's so clear that like making impact in some way has always been a thread for you, you know? So I want to hear more about Harbor because, I want to respect your time and our listeners' times, and they're used to these jam-packed episodes. So let's dive directly
Yeah.
into what is Harbor.
So when my son was born in 2016, I did a lot of research, and the most innovative baby monitor on the market was sort of deemed to be by the press and all the consumer articles, a company called Nanit, and they make a Wi-Fi camera that runs an app on your phone. It's marketed as a baby monitor, but as directly as I can say this, it's not a baby monitor. It's a camera with an app on your phone that requires Wi-Fi. So I woke up one morning, and you're supposed to leave the app running in the background all night plugged in next to you. I don't like sleeping next to my phone to begin with, but hey, that's what I was using. And the app had crashed on my phone. And so my son was unmonitored all night long. And when an app crashes, by the very design of the app and iOS or Android, an app can't tell you that it crashed. for better or for worse. Like, it just, put simply, it can't, because it's crashed. And so
Yeah.
it can't tell your phone to go do something. So I went out, I was horrified to discover that. And of course, none of these Wi-Fi based camera app systems tell you that that is a failure modality that you need to be worried about, because it would undermine the promise that they make on their website. So I went out and bought an old school Motorola camera and an old school Motorola monitor, lo-fi, old school technology, local only communication. And the reason that's important is because if the camera loses connection with the monitor, or the monitor battery is going to die, it will alert you that you are no longer monitoring your baby. The most fundamental thing you would need in a baby monitor. But if you have a nanny or a babysitter and you want to check in that, hey, they put them down safely, or they're down on time, or anything along those lines, you can't rely on those old school systems because they don't have Wi-Fi. So with Harbor, and I'll show you a picture or a video for anyone who can see this, it's a camera and a 10-inch tablet that connect directly to each other without internet and without your home Wi-Fi or any third-party Wi-Fi. Both devices also connect to the cloud. So you get the best of both worlds. You have a dedicated local monitor that is fail-safe and alerts you if it loses connection, but you also benefit from remote access. So you can access it via our app outside the home. You can record and rewind, and you get all sorts of advanced functionality. And you can even do things like smart audio, where if you don't want to hear your 2-year-old cough or sneeze in the middle of the night, you should hear every noise when they're very young. But a 2 or 3-year-old, you don't need to hear every single noise. You can set the level of comfort or noise that you want to hear. So some parents are going to want to hear everything. And then, I love to joke, my friends with 4 kids, they're like, until they are literally swinging from the rafters, I don't want an alert. You can set that level of alert and comfort threshold that you want. So ultimately, you and your kids will get more sleep. We have really pioneered this. There's a lot of features and functionality and security that is unlike anything on the market today. But this then becomes the foundation for our remote night nanny platform. And this is a huge breakthrough. We're democratizing all-night eyes-on expertise for anyone with an internet connection and our device. So instead of $400 or more, it's $400 a night in a city like Dallas to have a night nurse come into your house and help you with sleep training and take care of your child. New York or LA, you're talking $700 or more if you can even find one. With our monitor, once you've gone through an onboarding and a training, any night that you want, you can press a button on our monitor and turn the volume controls over to our professional night nurses, who will remotely control the volume on your monitor and only alert you with fail-safe backups if you should go in and tend to your child. So of course, if they see anything that's wrong, they'll alert you. But otherwise, if you have a 4 or 5 month old and they've been, fussing or crying for 2 minutes and they stop, well, you won't hear anything at all. But if they cross that threshold in a relatively standard sleep training program, then we will alert you, and there are multiple fail-safes and backups, so you can actually get sleep. And then importantly, you're the one that goes in and cares for your child overnight. You're not having someone else care for your child. You get to be the one that goes in and cares for them, but you're only waking up, 1 or 2, maybe 3 times a night, as opposed to through the depths of hell of sleep training, you could be awake all night long.
Yeah.
And even not go into their room. They cry for 2 minutes and stop. They cry for 2 minutes and stop. That's a very tough, long time. And we are going to bring that cost down to $20 a night for people with our system. And we think that this will just absolutely transform sleep and wellness for parents and kids everywhere.
And now, is this an active product that you have right now, this sleep monitoring, or is this kind of like the most cutting edge, newest thing for Harbor?
So we have multiple prototypes in families' homes right now, continuing to test the system. And we've done about 15 remote night nanny engagements where our team has woken up parents remotely when it's time for them to go in. We've done one study with twins, and we've done, again, it's been about 15 families so far. We just had life-changing results for these families. One mom told us, "You gave me hope to have a third child." Another one said, "I haven't slept since my first trimester, and I think I'm seeing like the other side of postpartum depression for the first time in a very long time." And that's the type of, when in the beginning of our discussion, we talked about, what's my why? Creating value for customers, like being told that we have literally given someone hope to continue to grow their family is just about the greatest thing that you could hear as a company. And so our first shipment of monitors to customers will take place in June. And then we will begin to expand the remote night nanny service to all the customers who are interested. We'll begin shipments to all customers because we have a wait list right now, and we'll begin pre-sales soon by the end of the summer. So it's exciting. We're on the precipice. We've got our product out there with some families, and we're about to get it out there with a lot more.
This is so exciting. This is so exciting. I absolutely love, when you say in the beginning, you say that your why is to give value to families. Like we hear give value and we think a monetary value, or I get
Yes.
to learn something, but this isn't just giving value. This is life changing. Like you said, like
Yeah.
giving someone the confidence and, faith that they can actually, make it out alive of these first couple kids to have a third. Like that's
Yeah.
huge. That is absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
Especially given the declining birth rate in the United States. So if there's anything that we can do to help parents have more kids, I'm very optimistic about our ability to impact our country.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So give me the nitty gritty about like where can people go for Harbor? What's the easiest way to get in your world? Who is this for? I'm hearing you correct. It's kind of like a wait list right now. So like the
Mhm.
first gen of all of this is coming out December, right?
This summer.
Summer,
So
summer.
yeah, people can go to harbor.co, harbor.co. And importantly, we've got free sleep guides. By the time this releases, we'll probably have our toddler sleep guide. You can just get it from our website. We've got some great interviews with pediatric sleep specialists, OB-GYNs, pediatricians. We want to help parents, whether they're our customers or not, we want to be able to help parents with great information. So check out our website. Also, all of our socials are at Harbor Sleep. And we've got posts out there. We regularly put information up that we think will help parents with any of the questions they're facing. We're early days. We just launched our website in the beginning of 2024, so we'll continue to be releasing more information. But also, if they have questions, reach out to us. We're happy to answer questions through our support chat, and we've got a registered nurse who runs our nursing program, who's able to answer all non-medical questions. And we hope that as we provide value and give parents some sanity back in their lives and hopefully more sleep, that they will be excited to tell their friends about it. And then, of course, if people are interested, they can sign up on our wait list on our website as well.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put that harbor.co in the show notes so that you guys can go there. Um, I'm just such a huge believer in taking advantage of these resources, right? These sleep guides that Kevin and his team has put out on harbor.co. Go and check those out. Even if you have like, oh, I love my baby monitor. My baby monitor's fine. Like, let's say you not have any interest, but go check out these guys because there's always so much wisdom, especially when you're looking at an individual who has been studying this, bringing in the leaders of the technology and the pediatrician and the like thought behind what our children need when it comes to sleep. Like, give yourself the permission to go and just, glean some information. And if you don't feel like downloading that guide, go glean off some great information on the social channels at Harbor Sleep, right? I'm assuming Instagram, Facebook, all the hot spots,
LinkedIn, X, everything. We don't do TikTok, but otherwise, we're on all the others.
all the others, all but TikTok. So I
Yep.
just really encourage listeners, go and take advantage of this because not only is it beneficial for your children, it's going to be beneficial for you. This is a family improvement that you see when you improve your sleep and your children's sleep. It is a win for all. So I just thank you so much for being on. I want to ask this question and it's funny because it's just so new. Harbor is so new and you've got so much behind it though, but give me a peek. We went backwards into time. Give me a peek. What's next for Harbor? Like, what are you not sharing that's like secretly hidden up here that you can share?
I don't know how much of a secret it is because we talked a little bit about it, but our vision is to become the one-stop shop for parents and kids, medical and non-medical needs for the first, 5 to 10 years of kids' lives. In time, we will expand the number of services that we will offer via telehealth, and that's because we think that once we're able to be that source of sleep and sanity for parents through our monitor, we will be able to offer them additional services all through our app, super low friction, very low cost, and democratizing access to expertise and medical guidance and information will help just create happier parents and healthier families. And if we are doing that well, our impact will be widespread.
Yeah, I love it. I love this approach. I love the market opportunity that you see and that you're seeing and that you're just expanding. It's such a beautiful, beautiful gift that you're giving our parents. So I thank you so much for coming on. Guys, definitely check out the show notes. Go to harbor.co, check out those socials. And yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for being on the show.
Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Likewise. All right, guys, until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Passion on Purpose podcast. I truly hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. So if you did, please rate, review, and share. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, whether a leader or an expert, please go to getvim.com/podcast and you will find our application page, or reach out to me directly and I can give you more information.